going on, friends and fam? Thank you so much for watching Every Day is a Saturday with your host, me, myself, and I, Brian Roof. Hey, guys, another great day, another great show. Hey, you know what? Sometimes TikTok can do some good, and I scroll through there often, and that's how I found my next guest. My next guest served his country proud for over 25 years. He started off as a Marine Reservist and then ended up going in the National Guard and then decided to go active duty in the United States Army from 2000 to 2021. And then he retired. Let's meet my next guest, Damon.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Good morning. What's up, Damon? How you doing, brother? Glad to have you on.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
And all right, man. Well, you know what? Let's get to know who Damon and let's kind of learn how you ended up going into the Marine Reservist. Why in the world you left the Marine Corps to go into the Army, and how your Army career was, and how things are going now, man.
Oh yeah, sure. So I signed up in a small town. It's a beautiful little city. It's called Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I signed up there to join the Marine Reserves. Obviously wanted to finish my 4-year degree, and between my sophomore and junior summer, I lived at home and I went to a junior college there in Coeur d'Alene. And, I saw these commercials, right, about, this physical challenge. I was a runner in high school, played a little football, a lot of football, but I just craved that physical challenge and also needed money for school to finish my degree. So that's why I signed up in the reserves. And that's why I wanted to see if my body could meet that challenge of Marine boot camp, that I saw in the commercials. So yeah. And
awesome, man. So then after, tell us about, life in the reservist.
Yeah, sure. So it was in the 90s, of course, during a time of peace. I forgot to mention this, Brian. I felt a little bit of regret after not going to Desert Storm, right? So I signed up in 91, right after Desert Storm had completed. I just felt I was going to school, so I was being productive with my life, but there was something that said to me, I wanted to serve, So anyway, that's part of the story. But my reserve years were wonderful. It was in Spokane, Washington. It was about a 30-minute drive from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, just right over the border on I-90. And we'd go into drill weekend, and it was the howitzers that were towed by trucks. And we'd drive to Yakima, which is about a 4-hour drive, and we'd shoot all day Saturday and come back Sunday and clean. And then in the 2 weeks in the summer, we'd go to Fort Sill. We went down to 29 Palms once. So when a Marine says that, I only had 2 weeks there though, but my 2 weeks there were more than enough to say that this is not a right place for a sound human being in his right mind.
That's why it's called the Stumps.
Yeah. So we did some training down there. So 92 to 98, when you sign up for the reserves, it's a 6-year commitment. So I did my 6 years, and then I was looking, something to keep me going. I enjoyed it. And I found out that, so I was artillery in Spokane, but then I moved down to Boise, Idaho, and was a tanker. I went to tank school at Fort Knox, Kentucky. So being a Marine, going on an Army base to a school was a rather unique experience. If any Marines are listening to this and they go to an Army base for a school, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I do that. And then I come back to Boise, Idaho. It was like maybe 4 years into my contract. I finished out my time in Boise, Idaho. And then the Idaho National Guard, they had a tank unit. Found out that I could keep my rank. And just do the same job, and so I switched over. I was kind of looking at the OCS National Guard program. I just one of those deals where you're young in life, you're not really sure what you're going to do. I just never followed through with it, So I just never followed through. So I went over there and never followed through. And then, boy, this is a long story. I'm sorry.
No, this is what this is for, man.
Bear with me, listeners, but. I got an opportunity to move back up to my hometown with my job. That's the thing. When you're in the National Guard or Reserves, sometimes these opportunities in your civilian job are going to offer you better opportunities. And you're like, oh crap, what do I do? So it was either, make a 8-hour drive, a 1-hour flight to keep my same position here in the Idaho Guard. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So I went over to the Washington State National Guard. So again, just like in the Marine Reserves, I drove over to Spokane, Washington, about a 30-minute drive. And I did my drill. One drill weekend. This is like, I think, spring of 99, probably, or summer of 99, this first sergeant comes in and he's like, we're going to move all our tanks to Seattle, Washington. You've got to drive to Seattle or fly to Seattle, if you want to keep your position in this unit. And I said, first sergeant, I was a sergeant at the time. I said, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. That's I knew I was in with my regs too, because it was more than a 50-mile radius. So he's like, all right, sergeant. And he's a little frustrated. He's like, you just go to the S2 shop and you just sit there for the weekend. And, you're a smart guy. I'm going to send you to the S2 shop. I don't know what he was thinking. Anyway, I go to the S2 shop and there's a staff sergeant who was like, yeah, I was former Army counterintelligence, so he's active duty Army counterintelligence. Now he's just trying to, do his guard time in Spokane. And he starts telling me about this MOS called Army Counterintelligence. And I'm like, man, I watched, the James Bond movies, it was nothing like it once you get in. But anyway, I was like, next morning after that drill weekend, literally on Monday morning on that drill weekend, I went down. I said, I want to go active duty counterintelligence. And this Army recruiter, staff sergeant, he just looked at me and was like, there's no such thing, son. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. You got to be kidding me. Because I knew. He's like, I said, come on, man. Come on. You got to figure this out for me. He's like, okay, let's drive to Spokane. Let's take you to the MEP station. So I go to the MEP station, and this master sergeant E8 had to help me out and find this MOS, right? And she was like, well, I got some good news and bad news. I found the MOS for you, but the ASVAB that you took, the score is not high enough for you to qualify for this MOS. I was like, let me take it again right now. Literally. So I took it again. I passed. So, that was like January of 2000. And it got me a plane ticket and a bus ticket to go to this 5-day in-processing course at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And I'm telling you, it was just the strangest thing you've ever experienced. You go through this paperwork drill, but you meet these folks that had these breaks in service and interbranch transfers. And I'm telling you the stories, like just mind-blowing, and then all these folks were just trying to get back into the service. But it was like, 5-day in-processing drill. And then put me on a plane, sent me down to Fort Huachuca, Arizona. Oh my gosh, a beautiful little quiet little base. If anybody's MI listening to this, they know what I'm talking about. Just the most quietest base, hiking trails, outdoor activity, anything you could think of, 60 minutes away from Tucson, Arizona. And I started my course there and I finished in August of 2000 and became an Army counterintelligence investigator, special agent. And away I went. And my first duty station was 525 MI Brigade at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, now Fort Liberty. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yeah, man. So let's hear more about your Army career and stuff like that. Go a little bit, deeper into.
Sure. So, yeah, absolutely. Anybody who's listening to this probably maybe a little bit too much information, but break down Army.
No, this is what this show's for. You're probably helping someone out on their drive right now, and they're probably listening. They're like, "Hey, yeah, go ahead, keep on talking. I got another 45 minutes."
All right, no. Okay, good, Brian. Okay, so Army counterintelligence, you could kind of break it down into the tactical realm and the strategic realm. So when I went to 525 MI Brigade, forgot to mention I had to go to airborne school to get to 525 at Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, because it was an airborne unit. Okay, so I had to do that. So So which is just nuts, jumping out of an airplane. But I digress. So I go to 525, and away I went doing tactical counterintelligence. So I would go down range and I would screen the local nationals. I'd screen them and vet them. I would provide threat assessments to the commander, tactical threat assessment on bases, give him recommendations. I would, so I can say what I can here on this unclassed system. I would have source meetings. It's okay, I can say that. I would have source meetings. That's all I can go into that, and
Sure.
conduct. Obviously the meetings were in a regard to protecting the security on the base, and so I did that, and that's more of a tactical, tactical counterintelligence. I did that for 4 years, and then opportunity to reenlist. The Army said, Damon, if you reenlist, we'll give you a $20,000 bonus, and we'll let you pick which assignment you want to go to. And so I was like, that's what happens when you get into these, really unique, high density. They call them high density MOSs in the Army. They're going to throw bonuses at you. So I came home and talked to my wife. My wife of now 29 years always been a big partner of mine. Every move that I made in the Army, active duty, I always consulted her with her. She's the huge support. I can tell you more stories about that later and how we met on a Marine Corps blind date, but during on a ball, 92. But I consulted with her, and she's like, I really like staying here at Fayetteville, North Carolina. Can you look at assignments that are here? And I said, you know what? There's an opening at 3rd Special Forces Group. And I was like, that's the coolest thing, go be an intel support soldier, to a Army SF unit. And I'm an E6 net. I'm just hard charging. And so I went. I did that for 3 years. I deployed with them down to Kandahar, Afghanistan. Pretty much the same mission, just on super steroids. These guys were the cream of the crop. They would go out and have a firefight. They would secure the objective, and I would come in, and I'd have the responsibility with me and my team. I had a few E3s, E4s work for me, right? I would go and I would do some tactical questioning of the detainees, check the pocket litter, that sort of thing. And I was me and my team were responsible for getting them down to the detainee facility in Kandahar, Afghanistan, which was just an enormous mission task. I'm telling you. And I did that every day. I probably, in my 6-month rotation, I probably did that maybe 8 or 10 times, because it's very time intensive. You're talking, they go secure the objective. I'm on the ground, maybe 24, 48 hours, in security, Constantina wire, doing the whole questioning thing. And then I get them then you got to call for the bird, get the choppers down to land, and get them on the bird. And that was a challenge in itself. I had them zip tied and goggled. We weren't allowed to use the hoods. That was, of course, against the rules at the time. So get them on the chopper and get them into the detainee facility. And, I was there, and then I try to question them at the detainee facility. As much as I can say about that on this system, but yeah, that was 3rd Special Forces Group. I did that. And then, like I said, two areas of counterintelligence, tactical and strategic. And so I said to the Army, my assignments manager, I said, I really need to get over into the strategic realm. So I went over to strategic side, and that's, just working on an Army base. I would come in khakis, slacks, and dress shoes and a collared shirt, and I'd have my badge and credentials. And there were no deployments. I would just, more or less, it's like criminal investigation division, in the Army. But I would only be allowed to investigate crimes of national security. So what's kind of interesting, listeners, if you want some education here, free piece of trivia for you. The Navy, the Navy NCIS and the Air Force OSI, Office of Special Investigators, they are allowed to do both counterintelligence and criminal. It's been a big dispute in the Army. Don't ask me why. Some higher ups had a territorial battle, but they break down Army criminal cases and then Army national security cases into 2 separate branches. So Army CID handles the criminal, Army counterintelligence handles the national security. So, I would go on the base, and I would do my threat awareness reporting briefings. basically, not a bad job with the op tempo that was going on in the Army at the time. It was a kind of a nice break for the first time ever in my career. I was allowed to do PT on my own, and so I'd do my PT on my own, and I would drive my kids to the school. Which I had 3 kids, blessings of my life. Now they're 27, 25, and 23. Greatest thing that happened to me and my wife. But what a blessing, what a reward to take my kids to school. During my days at Fort Bragg, I would leave before they got up to hit the PT time, at 06:30. And then I would, a lot of days I would come back and they'd be already in bed, Yeah, so some hard times. Anyway, we all been there. Anybody deployed after 9/11 knows what I'm talking about. Anybody served after 9/11 knows what I'm talking about. The op tempo was just crazy. But anyway, here I am, wearing my civilian clothes, and I drive my kids to school, and I'd have maybe a talk with the teacher there, and then get on my way. I kind of would maybe leave work when I had to. I would come in when I had to. So, if they had practices at 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I want to make it early day to get my kids. I was able to do that. Anyway, very rewarding. I was able to check the block with my strategic CI. Worked a lot with the FBI, had some many joint cases with the FBI. All I can say about that, but I got to know a lot of FBI and some other agencies, that had to do with national security. And that was beneficial. So Army counterintelligence and tactical and strategic. About 2006 rolls around, and my MOS since 9/11 just hurt number-wise, strength-wise. I'm telling you, just strength-wise was just it was tough. I think a lot of the young kids, male and female, military intelligence at times. So I worked with a lot of females. It was kind of a rewarding experience. In my time in the 90s in the Marine Reserves, not many females, obviously, because it was artillery, and then I went on a tank. So working with the female, it was great. I loved it. Rewarding experience. But gosh dang it, I lost my train of thought there. Where was I going with that? Anyway,
getting to work with the females and the counterintelligence and kind of.
Yeah, just a rewarding experience. But yeah. Sorry, I got it. So a lot of these young kids, male and female, got it. They would take off after 4 years doing their contract, because the training that you got was so valuable. They take off and do. You given your badge and credential, top secret clearance, poof, they were gone. So my point is that the Army really hurt number-wise. So 2006 rolls around, and the assignments branch at Army Warrant Officer Counterintelligence went through my records. They were like, "Hey, you were awesome NCOERs. You qualify for the Warrant Officer program in the Army." So I was like, "Yeah, sign me up." So I talked to my wife. She supported it. It was great. And so when you see a warrant officer in the Army, think about this. They've already had I had like 7 years in, which is pretty early. But I was a fast tracker, so I just did well. I just focused, buckled down, and I did well. I probably maybe sacrificed some family time for that, but that's the choice I made at the time. I'm trying to get it back now, but I did well. I fast tracked, and so you see an Army warrant officer, they've already got like pretty much average time when they went into warrant was 8 to 10 years. And then when you pin on that W01, you owe the Army 6 years. So you already say, yeah, I'm in for the 20. See what I'm saying? You're in for the 20. So when at 7 years, when I told my wife, we're going to do this, it was like, okay, it's a 6-year commitment to take that pinning. So away I went, and succeeded. Always been very blessed physically wise. I never really came down on any injuries. I got a lot of friends, so many good friends that had to get out because of back or knees or TBI. Unfortunately, we can talk about that, but I was blessed. I was blessed, and I sailed through the ranks. I made my CW3 early. I was a below the zone promotion, so to speak, and retired in September of 2021 as a CW4. And I did my 3 years to keep the high 3 pay. I did my 3 years. I pinned September 18 of my CW4. I pinned September of 18, and I retired right at September of 21. So, yeah,
Outstanding.
thank you.
So yeah, man. I mean, what was your favorite thing about being in the Army? I mean, what did you like the most about being in the Army?
Yeah. I have a TikTok video about this, and I want people to know this about me. It is so important to me. Uh, the, the the most rewarding thing that I had in the Army was when I reached my rank of like CW3, and I was able to give command to my colonel, my lieutenant colonel, and he or she would take me seriously. But it was that ability to take a group. I had probably 12 people work for me, and I'm telling you, they were the most diverse. They were the most diverse with ethnicity, nationality, religion, gender, and now sexual orientation, right? And I would take that team and I would mold them, and we would go and accomplish the mission. And to have that diversity come together as one, again, like I said, sexual orientation, religion, gender, nationality, ethnicity, nationality was just so rewarding. That's hands down. You cannot beat that. Now, going down range too, and building schools for girls that could go to school in Afghanistan. During the time when the Taliban, obviously taken over, but going to an event where we give medical care to men and women. They call them med caps. So rewarding. Then later in my career, 2017, as a CW3, again, I go down range and with 1st Armored Division at Fort Bliss, Texas. And we are the unit on the last stand when the official word comes down that ISIS is defeated in Iraq and Syria. Okay. ISIS is defeated. And to say that I was part of that unit in 2018, in January 2018, to say that I was part of that unit, I had a contribution. I had target packets that helped, neutralize ISIS with my collectors. That's all I can say about that. But so rewarding. I'm telling you, just so rewarding. A lot of sacrifice. Like I said, 3 kids. I did 6 deployments, 5 were combat related. But it was just the most rewarding experience I've ever had. I encourage any young man, young male or female listening to this, look at the service as a career choice, or just an opportunity to do some service where you are part of an organization that is diverse and just has some great goals. I mean, there are so many things. Tuition assistance, the fact that the military places such a high emphasis on your physical body, mentally, we're still struggling a little bit mentally. There's a lot of resources mentally. We're still struggling, but that's another thing that I like to promote is mental therapy, mental health awareness. But physically, the first thing that you do when you in the military, when you wake up, the first thing you do is you go with your squad, your section, male and female, in my case, the military intelligence, and you do physical exercise. So it's that importance of taking care of your body. It's just so rewarding. I can go on and on about the benefits, the travel. If you're a young male or female listening to this, you are going to see some parts of the world that'll just blow you away and make you appreciate what you have here in America. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. So you got a favorite good story that while you've been in? You've been on a lot of deployments and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
you got
yeah,
any
yeah.
like a big story that stands out to you the most in your career?
Well, yeah, absolutely. So, my best story that I have is, like I said, when I signed up to join the Marine Corps Reserves, and we had a Marine Corps ball in Spokane, Washington. And, I'm going to school full time, but I also have a part-time job, right? So I park cars and a bellhop at this really beautiful Coeur d'Alene resort. If you get a chance to go to Coeur d'Alene, please go. It'll just blow you away. The scenery is just amazing. So anyway, it's October, September timeframe. And I say to one of my buddies, God dang, I had no date for this ball. It was in 92. I got no date, right? So he's like, I know somebody. So he talks to the spa manager. The spa manager has a friend. Anyway, she recommends my wife now, Jennifer, and I call up Jennifer, ask her to go to the ball. And I tell you what, Brian, I know what got her. I know why she's still my wife today. Other than us being a team and having some good goals together. But I tell you what got her really was the Marine dress blues.
Oh yeah.
Right? Absolutely, right?
It works every time.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, Brian, that's my story, my best story about military story. That was in November 10th of 1992, and we were married in August of 93. So, yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah, pretty quick.
Outstanding, man. And
pretty quick.
Married,
pretty
so
quick. We've had it. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing because, a lot of marriages don't make it through career, even when you're going for 4 years, marriages don't work out. I mean, through the military. So that's right. Outstanding that you guys have been able to make it work so many years. And now here you are. And now let's go ahead and switch it up into, your retirement, man. And what's life for you now? And, what are you doing with yourself and how are you enjoying, retirement?
Yeah. Okay. For everyone listening, if you are going to go through a retirement or about to go through a retirement, I have some advice.
That's what this is all about.
Yeah, it's cool. First of all, the reason I retired is because my wife asked me to, and it was time. It was time. Okay, like you said, on my retirement order, it says it's 30 years time in service, but about 24 active. So it was time. It was time. My body was telling me it was time. But she asked me to, and I had to say yes. But it's rough. I'll tell you. You have an identity when you're serving, and that identity was just immediately kind of just stripped away, right? So that's why I go on Facebook and I subscribe to so many veteran organizations on Facebook. That's why I'm on TikTok promoting veteran issues. I have probably, if you want to check out my page, it's under just under my name, Damon Darakjy. But I have 10 videos in there about going through the VA claim process from my experience that would help a veteran. I say, well, you're going through retirement, make sure you get your medical records straight. Okay, this is so very important to me. I'm so glad you bringing this up, Brian, because I went through this, and I'm telling you, when no one tells you this in the military, man. I could not believe it. If I didn't have like some peers, like a lieutenant colonel that was going through the process the same time I was able to bounce off, ideas about like how the filing system and going to your CMP exam. I kind of would have been lost. I mean, and I had a retired CW5 help me out too. I would call him, both of them, and say, "Hey, I got this CMP exam coming up. What can I prepare myself for?" But I'm telling you, you go through this class. The Army has this class, transition class, Soldier for Life. But anyway, it doesn't even scratch the surface. Anyway, I'm so glad that you brought this up. It's so very important to me. If you are an active duty service member and you are about to retire, about 1 year out, start looking at your medical records. Okay. And here's another thing. There were several injuries that I had that I did not document at the time. I was on airborne status. I had like 3 concussions. Okay. I didn't go see the doc. If you're an active duty, if you're a hard charger, you know what I'm talking about. You know why I didn't see the doc. You can't do it. You don't want to hear your buddies say sick bay commander, sick bay ranger, why you're doing this. Okay. Here's what I did. I took my jump log and I went to the doc and I said, "Doc, I'm sorry I didn't document this, but here's my jump log, and on this day I got a concussion, and you know, he just documented it. I don't know if that will happen for you. You know, I don't take my word for it. That's just my case, but he documented it, and it helped. And I'm currently rated for a certain percentage. If you don't mind, I'd like to keep that a little private to me. But I'm rated for a percentage for TBI. All right, it's TBI, and I'm so glad that I went back there. My point is that if you did not get something documented because you're a hard charger and you put the mission first, which completely understandable in my head, I didn't. There's a reason I made CW4, folks. I'm telling you, there's a reason I made that rank in 21 years. Okay, go back to the doc and document it. Just see what will happen. You know what? Here's another story. My wife and I, we paid out of our own pocket to get a sleep study done. Okay, you know, I know it was like $1,300 or so, and it's difficult financial for some folks to you know, they can't do that, but it was just so important for us to. We just did it on our own. You know, we just did it on our own. And then get this. Get this. I went back to the doc with my wife in the room, and she told what's happening. This Army captain, he looked at me and was like, he just shook his hand at me. He's like, "What are you talking about? You did that? Okay." So we put in the system and we got reimbursed for it. I'm telling you, 30 days later, we got a check in the mail from TRICARE. But anyway, you know what I'm talking about. You've got to take into your own account, your own health, and make sure you file your claims. Okay. You can file your claims 180 days out before you ETS or your retirement orders, right? So you can file those claims. Get your records straight about maybe, I'd say about a year out, maybe 9 months out. And then in my case, I got very lucky. You know, I'm on TikTok. I probably listen to VSOs, VA Navigators is one. I'll put in a plug for them. VA Navigators, listen to them. He's on a live session every week. I can't remember the time. Just you know, on TikTok, just Google it. He's on Facebook, VA Navigators. I listen to those about once a week, and because I love to go in the chat box and give my perspective, my recommendation to young service members that are trying to do this VA claim process, because it is complicated and tough. And I'm telling you, I don't know how these folks do it when they've gotten out and they've passed that 1 year, you know, 1 year that 1 year status that you have, you know, they have to go back. God bless them. I don't know how y'all do it. You know, I know a lot of them pay for an attorney to help them. That's cool. That's fine. But there are many good veteran service officers, VSOs, veteran service officers that you can use and utilize. Every county should have one. You know, every county in our United States should have one. I put that on TikTok once, and this gal from West Virginia wrote back and said, "No, it's not the case here in West Virginia." But you know, West Virginia, I don't know. Okay, maybe there are some areas. Yeah, maybe there are some areas that are just too remote. But anyway, I got so lucky because I went to the VSO on my base at Fort Bliss when I retired. My VSO and I filed 37 claims on my behalf. I know it sounds like a lot, but consider I was in for, you know, 24 active, 30 total. So consider that. But we filed 37 claims, and I have 7 or 8 that were, you know, 10%, and a few 150, and then one to 100. So anyway, I said I wasn't gonna.
I gotta imagine in the Army, you know, you guys jumping all the time, man. You're destroying your bodies, you know, jumping out and landing. I mean, some of those look like some pretty rough landings, man.
Yeah. Yeah, my TBI rating was pretty high. So, and I also had a car accident, a concussion. I had in BNOC. That's your school that you go when you're trying to get your E6. And you know what? I didn't go see the instructors. It was like it hit me pretty hard. It was some car came in and popped me from behind. Right. I didn't go see the cadre because I was worried they might ask me to leave the course. And then what does that do? I can't get promoted. You know, so when there are some. It's a hard balance, folks. If you're listening to this and you're in the service, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Taking care of your body and your mental health at the same time, accomplishing the mission for your command. It is a hard balance. But anyway, that was one of those that I went back to the doc and I said, "Hey, can you document this?" And he did. But my TBI has a pretty high rating because of that car accident, my jumps, like you said, the concussions that I received. But I got my rating. It took me, I retired in September of 21. I started my terminal leave in May of 21. My final rating from the VA didn't come till January. So I did all my CMP exams while I was during that transition leave time, right? In the Army, we're kind of lucky. We get our DD 214 the day before you start your transition leave, right? So you go in and you talk to the retirement services officer, and this gal, she said, "Here's your 214, Chief D. Look at it." And I said, "Looks at it." I saw my, my awards and my combat deployments, and I was like, because you want to make sure that's straight, right? And I said, "Yeah, it looks good." So I got my 214. So if I don't know how y'all do it in the Air Force and Navy, Coast Guard, the Marine Corps. She told me that, you're very lucky being in the Army because we give you a 214 before you actually. So I'm getting this 214. I hadn't officially retired yet. So anyway, I used that. My VSO was like, "Hey, send me your combat action badge," So I was like, "Dang, my combat action badge. I got that in Afghanistan in 2005. I tell you what, this is a lesson for all you service members. I know there's digital files and you get your military file, but for me, the way I do things, I went back to a tough box in my garage. I pulled open a binder, and I found that combat action badge, hard copy, right? I made a photo. So, he was like the VSO officer, his Texas Veterans Commission. Anybody retiring in Texas, I encourage you to go through the Texas Veterans Commission. They were outstanding. They helped me out and got me the rating that I deserved, I believe, in my opinion. So he said, "Give me your jump log." I went back to that binder. I pulled out my jump log, Not sure if any of those helped, but I'm sure they did. But, the fact is that you want to save your hard copy stuff. Save your hard copy stuff. We were talking that brings me a story. We were talking up on the phone, and you were asking me about my time in service, right? This reminds me, right, of the phone conversation I was going to tell you. But when I came to retirement, in the 90s, in the Marine Reserves, in the 90s, anybody that served in the 80s or 70s, anybody listening to this served, before they, the digital explosion occurred. I remember, we went to our 2-week drill, and we would go to the admin clerk and get our check handed to us, right? And you'd have to sign. Remember, you have to sign for your check. Here's your check, for your 2 weeks of time here. I don't know what it was. It's an E5 that I had, 4 years time in service, drill pay, maybe $1,000 or something. I don't know, a few thousand, right? But anyway, we get these printouts, like kind of like how Xerox, a copy machine would spit out these printouts, right? And it's just, So anyway, I kept those. Thank goodness I kept those. Anybody listen to me? You're not going to have this problem because everything's, digitally. My point is, if you're in a service, keep what you get, hard copy it, have a tough box, have an I Love Me book, and keep it documented, right? So this retirement service officer, I was going through getting my retirement orders. I lucked out. He was a former Marine on an Army base, right? A contractor, a GS type. He was like, "Hey, I need your points that you got, your point system that you got in the Marine Reserves." And I was like, "Oh my gosh," scratching my head. I went back to my binder. I pulled out this printout, that I had kept. Here's all my points, I turned it in, and thank God I had it because it gave me all those 6 years in reserves. I probably got about a year, maybe a year active duty, or maybe a year and a half. That's including my basic training, my boot camp in San Diego. Hollywood Marine here, folks. Hollywood Marine. I'm proud to say it, right? I go on TikTok and shout that as loud as I can. Hollywood Marine. And these Paris Island guys come on. They say, "Yeah, we had it tougher because of the sand fleas." I'm telling you what, man. I don't really care. I'm sorry. I'll do respect. Simplify to all you Marines out there, right? No, I'm just so proud to say I went to San Diego. But anyway, go ahead. I digress.
No, man, you're good.
I digress.
I'm a Hollywood Marine myself.
That's outstanding, right? Hey, remember running down the flight line, with the fence right there with the barbed wire, right? You're running the drill instructor's called the cadence, and you see these planes just go. That was a mind warp.
I tell you what, I used to always wish I was like, I don't care where that fucking plane's going. I wish I was on it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
There was some times, man, I'd just be like, just be getting out there smoked in the pit, and you're just watching. You're like, where's that one going? I was like, can I jump on?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah,
no, I tell
that's
you.
one thing about going to San Diego, MCRD. That airport was a mind fuck.
Yeah, no, it was. But I'm proud to say that I'm, just like some of your listeners, I stepped on those yellow footprints, and we'll get back into my retirement life here in a second. But I want to say, I went through January '92 to April '92. I graduated. Please, folks, please forgive me. Don't ask me the name of the company, the name of the battalion. I got the yearbook at home. I could go look it up for you. I just can't remember. Okay. But I know I graduated in April of '92. But I tell you what, here's what I do remember. Sergeant Cushing, Sergeant Alexander, right? And Sergeant Mason, my 3 drill instructors. I don't know where you are today. I don't know what you're doing today. I hope you're doing well. God bless you, all 3 of you. I will never forget all 3 of you and what you taught me. I'm getting a little emotional about it because it means so much to me. Those 3 men, what they taught me, about discipline and physical PT and how to climb a rope. And, they I don't know if everyone in boot camp had the same experience I had, but I was never hit. I was always treated with respect and dignity. Our whole company, we did well. He would have us come, in the squad bay, sit, with your. I still remember how we had to sit, back up and, your butt on the surface and your knees crossed, like this. And one time Staff Sergeant Mason, he had us watch a video that Ronald Reagan had, about pride and being in America, right, and respecting our country. And I never really got that when I was going through school and in college. I was like, anyway, you know what I'm saying. If anybody's listening to this, I was so blessed. Those 3 men, thank you, wherever you are today. I don't know if I'll ever get to meet you again. Probably never will. But that's why on TikTok, when I hear a former drill instructor make a video or something, I say, God bless you. God bless you. Any drill instructor listening to this right now, I want you to know how much you've affected the lives of young men and women. Anyway, I had to share that.
I've had 4. I've had about 4 of them on so far. That 4 Devil Dogs have gone through being drill instructors. And yeah, man, I tell them the same thing. There's just no way that they can't, I forever will remember my drill instructors and what they did too. I mean, they're everlasting. They leave an imprint on you. They're one of the first, impressions you get when you go in. They're one of the first, impressions besides, the receiving guys that get you. But once you get released in that Black Friday, man, and they release them in drill instructors at you, and they just come in and then attacking you, man. It's, you develop a like a respect. You hate the son of a bitches, but you love them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I had to say this. I had a little bit of an advantage. I was a runner. I ran at a junior college, cross country and track. So my upper body strength wasn't the best. But then when you went into the Marine Corps boot camp, remember we were allowed to do the KIP, right? Remember the KIP? Anybody listen to this right now? I know that they have changed.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. It's where you kind of. Oh, okay. No. It's all good. It's all good. Anybody listen to me? Went to boot camp, during my time frame, again, 92, you kind of kick it's not a dead hang pull up. It's not a dead hang pull up. You're able to kind of swing your hips to get momentum, to get, it was 20 pull-ups to get the max. I never got it. What I'm saying is my run was always a max. but I think I gained a certain appreciation, affection from the drill instructors, because of my physical ability. I will say that if you're a young man, male or female, listen to this, you want to go into the service. If you are in the best physical shape of your life, you're going to gain some friends. I'm telling you, you're going to gain some friends, especially in the Marine Corps and the Army, because that is something that is, they love that. They love that, being in physical readiness shape, right? Well, then again, you have to be for combat arms. You got to be able to be good in physical shape, because you're going to cost somebody's life if you don't. But anyway, you go to combat. But they kind of like me. I think they like me. So anyway, I will say that. But yes, God bless you for having those drill instructors on, Brian. God bless you. Aside from maybe a teacher, not even close, not a teacher, maybe my football coach, not even close. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head who. My parents, my dad, he took me hunting. He taught me a lot of good lessons, gave me a firm handshake. But
and since you're on TikTok,
yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Since you're on TikTok, do you know Jonas the Mad Hatter?
Yes, I follow him.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, he's been on my show, and he was a drill instructor.
Awesome.
Yeah. So he's an air winger, but he's been on my show twice because he's had such great. Stories, while he was a drill instructor. And then his second round, we kind of went in depth about drill instructor school in itself, because, man, you got to think about it. Drill instructors, they go through boot camp. A lot of them do 9 cycles. It sounds, from what I've heard. So that's 9 different times they got to go through. And to be a drill instructor, they got to go through it again. I mean, so, and then when they joined, they went through it. So it's like, man, them dudes are going through boot camp a lot.
Yeah, the sacrifice that you all make, drill instructors, is enormous, and the impression that you leave, to the young men and women, especially me included. Like I said, April of '92 here at Mason, Cushing, and Alexander. I'll never forget their faces and what they taught me in life. But I was going to say, I can't think of any other person that really gave me that sort of lessons. Maybe, like I said, a teacher, a football coach that I had in high school, my dad, maybe those just and my mom too. But I'm talking like those physical moments. Those more physical, a little bit of mental. When it comes to drill,
discipline through pain,
and marching. You got to think that's what it is. Yes, that's what it is. And then I finished boot camp. And went on to that 30-day course you got to take. Every Marine's a rifleman, They bus you up to these little Quonset huts. It's somewhere in Camp Pendleton. And that was another
Marine combat training.
Yeah.
MCT.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
That was a whole nother part 2 of boot camp.
Yeah. I thought I was done. I can't honestly, I can't remember now. It's been so long. I don't know if I took leave after boot camp or not, but I don't.
Yeah, they give you. So, well, at least in my time when I joined in 2000. So when we got out of boot camp, we had 2 weeks of leave.
Did you? Okay.
Before you went to MCT, but I caught on to some recruiting duty. So if you were able to catch on the recruiting duty, you can extend yourself out. So I think I did like 4 weeks of recruiting duty. So I think I was home for about 6 weeks before I went to MCT. And then after MCT, it was nonstop. From MCT, went to my schooling, and then from schooling, went into the fleet. And then, it was all history from there.
No, gotcha. What'd you do in the Marine Corps, Brian?
I was in supply. I was actually a warehouse clerk, 3051. They also call us box kickers.
Nice. No, that's cool. No, my point was about going to that is I thought maybe I was done, after at boot camp.
Right.
I was done. So no, MCT was a kick in the ass. I'm telling you. We went on this 25-mile march. Remember, with a weapon and some weight in I think it's maybe 15 pounds. That's not much, I understand, but a helmet. And we started like at 4:04 and we finished like I think around 10:30 or 11 or something. And I'll never forget. This is what this is what's so cool about the Marine Corps. I know I was in the reserves, but I still went through the boot camp and the MCT. But this I can't remember, this E7 comes out, maybe E7, maybe E8, but he was like, that pain you're feeling in your legs and your knees and your body right now, Marines, it's called character. It's called character. I'll never forget that. I was hurting so bad.
Man,
Yep.
What we did, it was called the ammo run, and we had to carry these ammo freaking boxes, and man, it felt like your arm was about to fall off because the things were, I don't know how freaking heavy they were, but those ammo cans were not light.
No, I bet.
Miles and miles.
I bet. How many? Do you remember how many miles you did?
Gosh, dang, man, I don't even know. Probably back then it was probably around 10. I want to say,
okay.
Yeah, but it was a lot, and I remember not everybody had an ammo can, but at one point in time, you were going to pick that thing up because, someone was going to carry it as long as they could before their arm fell off, and then the next guy had to pick it up, and then hopefully you're like, come on, bro. Hopefully he goes a little bit further.
Yeah.
When you're a bigger guy in these damn things, man. They always pick you for all the crap. Like, oh, sit down, go carry him. go pick that up.
Yeah. No, I hear some great lessons here. Some great experiences and great lessons. But so I'm just so proud to have gone through that experience. I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Like I said, I joined the Marine Corps because I saw the commercials and I just wanted that physical challenge. So, and I loved the weekend passes we got going down in San Diego. I went through that city. I'll tell you what, I hit every single, military museum and military, whatever it is, military, I was so proud, and everywhere you went, I tell you, the people down there respected you. I have nothing but good things to say about that community down there, Oceanside and San Diego area. So
yeah, I love Oceanside. That's definitely a place I would love to go live. If I'm stuck here in California, I told the wife I'd love to go live off of Oceanside. I eat Calimas almost every day, the burritos from there. But
nice. I'll have to check that out. But yeah. So that was a great experience. Back to my retirement life here. I retired in September of 21. I haven't per se worked full-time employment. I haven't worked in the last year, almost 2 years now. As a kind of a getting a little personal here on this podcast, but it's kind of an agreement between me and my wife. She actually told me, she said, hey, of course I can do whatever I want, right? But you've been married to somebody, it's a team effort. And she asked me to take a break. So
right, yeah.
So she asked me to take a break, and my wife and I love to travel. You can see it on my TikTok. I wish there was have you seen it?
Yeah, I definitely have. Well, I definitely check out your videos, and I've seen you go to I think it was like your daughter's graduation or something, or a wedding. I don't know. I've seen you all over the place, man.
Yeah, that's been fun. I can share with you that my wife's, her job, she's a psychologist, and she contracts out through the VA, and she does
outstanding.
Yeah. So she knows a lot about it. She does PTSD exams. But my point is, she's able to make her own schedule. She just tells the VA when she can work, and she's a contractor when she can't work. So she will come to sweet, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. So now that you brought up PTSD, have you had PTSD, and how have you dealt with it? I mean, I guess it's kind of nice having a psychologist who deals with PTSD living there at home with you, man. So, and another thing is she could be a lot more, empathetic towards you and understanding, kind of where you're coming from, because she deals with it.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's my biggest support network. She's the one that I remember I said I went through a rough mental transition. When you leave the military, folks, you're going to go through a rough a rough transition, I would tell you the best thing you can do for yourselves is, for me, it was my wife. Okay. You find your own support network. You find your own support network, right? So find that. But yes, I am diagnosed with PTSD. It's something that I'm willing to share. I'm so grateful when I see other service members come on TikTok and share that story. There's a gunnery sergeant who shares. He's retired now, but I know he on his TikTok profile, it's the Okiest Gunny. Please check him out, the Okiest Gunny. He shared.
He's
getting.
getting.
Do you know him?
Yes, I have. I'm trying to get him on the show.
Okay. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm so thankful.
Yeah, we
for
talk.
you.
I have his cell phone and stuff, so he's a good guy.
Good. If you are listening, you may not be, but I'm so thankful that you are so willing to make yourself so vulnerable, to so that others may learn. So yeah, my wife.
It's important, Damon, that we show everybody that it's okay. It's okay not to be okay. And we gotta, and a lot of us come from a background of, hey, suck it up, put a band, put some salt on the thing and move. I mean, we come from that generation. Now we've got a lot of people that have a lot of things going on, and the more that we normalize it, and the more that each and every one of us talk about it, the easier it gets for everybody else. And you know what? It's not always easy to share things like that, man, and be vulnerable. But you might actually help or save someone's life by talking about it. You know what I mean? So don't ever feel, ashamed to talk about it, especially when you're with your fellow brethrens or sisters. We're here to support, and we all want, we're all kind of in the same boat together. There's even first responders and stuff that we're reaching out to, and we're trying to capture. I mean, because they go through a lot of things day in, day out. So, we got to start talking about it, and it got to be okay. And, the more that we talk about it, I think the more that help can be done.
No, you're absolutely right. You mentioned first responders. That's so critical that they are acknowledged too. There are so many resources that one can find, right? I used to go to, I don't do it anymore, but I used to go to a support group, and I'm trying to look at my phone to tell the listeners the name of the organization. But we'd meet once a week, over Zoom, and it was first responders and military, retired military, or folks that had gotten out of the military. But there are so many resources that one can use. I certainly apologize for not being able to find that, but let me see here. But you were going to show the 988 line,
I keep showing it. Definitely, it's always. We'll go ahead and pop it up, but I always like to show that. I kind of have a thing at the 22-minute mark. I always start putting it out. It's a thing when I hit the 22 mark while we're recording. Put up the line number.
No, it's so important. There are so many resources that you can find. So many support groups. Whether you want to do it in person, whether you don't want to do it in person, and this Zoom call that I used to go to, it was Thursday night, and it was taken away from my time with my wife. So, there's a balance, right? So, I was like, hey guys, and gals, I can't really commit to this every Thursday, but I just want the listeners out there to know there are so many support groups. Operation Healing Heroes, I think it is what it is. Operations Healing Heroes. Anyway, I'm having trouble finding it on my phone. Operation Healing Heroes. Please just do your own research. Yeah, do your own research. There are so many groups out there that you can find. I know the VA has so many resources. But what helps me is I spend time in the gym. I just try to take care of my body by my eating and my sleeping. I know that sounds so easy to say, folks. I know it does, but I do the best that I can. I find that the gym time helps me, and then my family time with my wife and kids really helped me. But you have to find your own support network. What works for me may not work for you. Find a support network. I'm also very involved in the American Legion. And that's something that I give a lot of time to, with meetings and volunteering my time with certain events with my American Legion post. Yeah,
That's great, man.
yeah.
Shoot, is there anything else that you want to share, or any, last messages out there that you want to say to anybody?
No, really, no. I think you gotten the gist of it, who I am and what I wanted to come on here and accomplish is, the Marine, the Army, the military, any branch, it can be very, very rewarding if you're listening to this. And I highly encourage you to experience that. Keep yourself in good physical shape. And the resources that the VA has and other organizations like the Operation Healing Heroes has for folks that have mental health challenges like PTSD can really help. So take advantage of those. Those are, and then take advantage of joining a veteran service organization. If you don't mind me sharing a little bit, Brian, taking maybe past the hour limit here.
No.
Okay,
No,
good.
no, we're good.
Good. I just want to say, especially if you're a female, there are some challenges when it comes to veteran service organizations, because of they're just challenges, right? So I don't know how to say this correctly, but things are getting better, right? They are more welcoming right now. Okay, they are more welcoming right now to your service. And I know I put this on TikTok. I don't know, I'm explaining it very well. I put this on TikTok and I asked the young generation, my generation, why we are not joining service organizations. And I got a myriad of answers back. Okay, I understand those answers, but I just encourage you, if you're male or female, please encourage you to look into joining a veteran service organization. For me, it's the American Legion. I do that because my grandfather was very involved in it. So, and you don't have to be a combat veteran to join the American Legion. All they require is an honorable discharge from you. Okay, so that's kind of the difference between the VFW and the American Legion. To each his own, right? For me, it's the American Legion. You don't have to have any combat on your GD-214 like you do with the VFW. But it's very important to me. VSOs are very important to me. So I'll leave you with that. Yeah, and we're the times are changing. It's no longer the old guard needs VSOs, and we need the young generation to step up and kind of say, hey, old guard, here's some new young thinking, right? Here's some new young thinking, right? It's not that old way of doing things anymore, right? Anyway, God bless you to the greatest generation. I hope I'm not trying to offend you here. I'm just saying that the new folks need to step up and join. New folks, you need to step up and join VSOs. We need this new young blood. We need more females. We need more minorities, right? We need more minorities in these VSOs to stay relevant, right? So when the reason I joined and the reason I stay joined and I count as a number is because when the American Legion or the VFW commander can go to a Senate or a House Armed Services Committee and say, I represent 2 million or whatever. I represent 1.5 million. That is so powerful. So that's why your voice counts. Okay, join. I encourage you to join. Make sure that you are counted when that American Legion commander goes to the Armed Services Committee and he says, this is how the PACT Act, the Toxins Act that was passed last September, October, whatever it is, providing relief to so many veterans that have got a condition from toxins that were in the air, right, from your deployments, right? It's so important. He's able to say, these are the many numbers that I have, and please listen to me, okay? So that's my pitch to join a VSO.
All right, man.
Join the VSO. And we need more younger members. We need females. We need females. We need the minorities. Come on in. Come on in. Okay. All right.
All right, Damon. Well, hey, once again, man, I thank you for coming on the show, sharing your stories and your experiences with us. I absolutely appreciate you, brother. If you could just wait, hold tight, and I'll be joining you real quick.
Yeah.
Once again, thanks. All right, friends and fam, thank you guys again for watching Every Day is a Saturday. Hey, if you guys have a chance, go check out the Facebook group right below. Every Day is a Saturday, USMC Veteran. If you haven't joined that group, go join that group. You can check out, there's, memes, all kinds of stuff in there, good events, a lot of veteran organizations. It is really, I share all kinds of information as soon as I, see anything. Also, if you guys are watching this and you want to listen to it, you can go check it out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and also on the Gunroom Radio. And if you haven't heard what the Gunroom Radio is, you need to go check that out. Here is the link to the Gunroom Radio. That is a veteran radio show. It plays veteran artists, music artists, and also veteran podcasts. You can catch me on there on Thursdays at, let's see, I think it's 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, go check me out. And all you guys got to do, hey, like and share the show. It doesn't cost anything. It really helps it out. Once again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys for watching Every Day is a Saturday with me, myself, and I, Brian Roof. Until next time.